A family in New Orleans is dealing with the tragic death of a 6-year-old boy. Shawn Wilson was killed in a hit-and-run crash while he was walking to the bus stop yesterday. And we're postponing our planned cyber-stalking segment with Crimestoppers in order to focus on this tragic story. And this morning, Crimestoppers President Darlene Costanza is in, Executive Director, I should say, is here to talk about safety tips for walking to school. Such a very, very sad story. And motorists have to realize that children are out walking early in the morning. This happened shortly after 7 o'clock in the morning. And so they're getting to school on time, and motorists need to be aware of that. But for parents and grandparents, what tips do you have for them?
I think first off, if you really need to consider your child's age and the maturity level. I mean, actually, nationally, the statistics say approximately around 10 years old is when you maybe want them to walk alone, but really depends on the maturity, and you need to consider, are they able to judge? Are they able to judge that a car is not going to stop, or is it slowing down? I mean, how observant are them? I mean, we constantly need to remind our children at all ages that cars may not see you. I mean, get down to where they are on their level, and you know, many times a child being small is going to be hidden from the side of view of a car. So you never ever are going to assume that you're going to be safe just because, you know, the car is going to see you, even if they're stopped.
And telling the children to look both ways, left, right, and then left again.
Left, right, and behind, in front. You need to make sure that they understand about stoplights and where cars can turn. I mean, they can turn, you know, if you had a four-way stop. And I think the most important thing is making sure that we tell our children to always, always try to use eye contact with the crossing guard or with whoever they're with. I mean, and you, as an adult, you need to practice these things too with your children.
And also, sometimes children have iPods and music, especially older children, and they need to not have those going when they're walking to school.
We need to either not have them on, or you need to have at least one ear pod out, because you need to be able to hear. And we need to remind our kids that, you know, being distracted is just as dangerous when you're walking as being distracted when we talk about drivers being distracted by texting. And that's the other thing. How many people do we see texting and listening to music and trying to walk? So, you know, be a good role model and remind your children.
And also, we have other tips here. Wait until traffic is stopped before walking. Keep looking for the traffic until you are back on the other side, on the other sidewalk. And parents should watch out for children who are walking alone. Be their eyes and ears. And if something happens, if you have a cell phone, take a picture of the vehicle, of the situation. And now I want to talk about something else. You have a case from 2007 that you want to get word out.
Yes, we do. This was August 11th is actually when the bodies were found in 2007, and it's a horrible case. It was a murder of a Laotian couple, Angelique Vu and Long Nguyen. Angelique was 35, Long Nguyen was 38. They were married, they had come home from a dinner, they had a baby and a toddler. And when they came home, the mom went and brought the baby to the crib, and the father, as usual, went outside to smoke a cigarette. He was followed in by at least 2 perpetrators. And this was on Savoy Court in the Lodge Lease area. So they went out, they followed him in, and they pretty much executed Mr. Nguyen. And Angelique came in with the toddler, and she did try to fight back, and then she was shot. So we know at this point that there were at least 2 perpetrators. It was handguns that were used. And for a while, you know, this is assumed to be a home invasion, possibly a mistaken identity, because there were other crimes after this in that particular area. But for a while, law enforcement thought they had the people that were involved, but that was never ever you know, proven. So at this point, this is a case that's still open. And just the fact that the toddler actually stood in the home with his parents for 8 hours until, you know, the family members came the next day because they didn't appear for work. So very sad. And there's a $5,000 reward.
$5,000 reward for information. If you have any information, call Crimestoppers 822-1111. And thank you very much for coming in, Darlene.